That's why many seniors cough up phlegm all the time. And how you can stop it naturally after 60. It often starts harmlessly. A slight scratching in the throat, occasional clearing of the throat after getting up, or a persistent cough after eating. Probably just an old cold, many say. Or, it's just old age. But at some point, the occasional coughing becomes a constant companion. The mucus in the throat becomes thicker, breathing becomes more difficult, especially in the morning. And with every coughing fit, the uncertainty grows. Many older people suffer in silence. They don't tell their children because they don't want to be a burden. They may mention it casually to their doctor, or not at all because they think it's nothing serious. And yet the constant feeling of having something in your throat, the constant swallowing, coughing, or clearing your throat, it wears you down. It wears on your nerves, your strength, your zest for life. What many people don't know is that chronic mucus in the throat is not a normal part of aging. It is a sign, a signal from the body that needs to be heard. Because mucus is not just a waste product, it's a messenger. When it builds up too much, or becomes too thick, there's often more to it than just a cold or a harmless cough. In this video, we take a closer look. We share stories of people over 60 who thought they had to live with this condition, and then found out there was another way. We reveal which everyday habits, medications, or dietary mistakes can cause mucus. And we show you natural ways to bring your body back into balance, without radical changes or risky medications, because you have the right to breathe freely, every day, without shame, without restriction. Stay tuned. In Chapter 2 we introduce you to Helga, a 75-year-old woman who thought for months that she was just constantly catching a cold. But the truth was quite different. Helga, 72, from near Bremen, was never a woman who complained about aches and pain. It's just part of getting older, she often said, waving away her daughter's questions about why she cleared her throat so often. But at some point, it was no longer occasional throat clearing, it was a constant cough, especially in the morning. A thick, mucus-filled cough that hung over her day like a heavy curtain. I wake up and it feels like a film has settled on my lungs overnight, she described it. Coughing it up was laborious, exhausting, and happened every day. Her family doctor suspected age-related asthma. Another said it was simply chronic bronchitis, normal at her age. Helga was given cough medicine, sometimes antibiotics, sometimes nothing at all. The cough remained. What Helga didn't know, and what none of the doctors mentioned, was that the source of her suffering might have been on her breakfast plate. One morning, after a particularly bad night, she left her usual toast and cheese untouched. I just didn't feel like it, she recalled later. Instead, she had an apple and a cup of tea. What happened? No coughing. Not immediately, not at breakfast, not while brushing her teeth. The morning passed quietly. I thought it was a coincidence, says Helga. But the next day, she tried the same thing, and again there was no mucus. It was only after 3 days that the penny dropped. The cough only came when she ate certain foods, especially dairy products. Yogurt, cheese, cream sauce, anything creamy and cool, led to this thick mucus formation. Helga started research, and she came across what many naturopaths have been saying for years, that dairy products, especially in older people with sluggish digestion, can stimulate mucus production. Not in everyone, but in many. A connection that conventional medicine does not officially confirm, but one that more and more seniors are observing in themselves. What if the body doesn't have a problem with the mucus at all, but is simply defending itself against something we consume on a daily basis? Helga continued to experiment. She replaced cheese with avocado. She used plant-based milk instead of cream. And lo and behold, the coughing fits became less frequent. It's not gone, but it's better. And I no longer feel helpless. The key thing is that she stopped simply accepting it, and she started to read the signs her body was giving her. Many seniors like Helga experience mucus coughs, not because of lung disease, but because of a quiet, constant irritation from within. The good news is that this irritation can often be influenced, not by medication, but by observation, small changes, and the knowledge that you are not powerless. So if you also struggle with mucus in the morning, ask yourself, what do I eat every day? without even thinking about it. And what happens when I leave it out? Because sometimes the solution isn't in the pharmacy, it's on your breakfast plate. Many older people who suffer from chronic mucus cough ask themselves the same question. Why can't I get rid of this mucus? You cough, clear your throat, drink tea, and yet it remains stuck, deep and stubborn. But few people know that the body has a natural cleansing mechanism that is designed to do just that. And this mechanism often no longer works properly in old age, even though it used to be active every day without us having to do anything. We are talking about what is known as mucociliary transport, a tongue twister of a word, but a crucial one. There are millions of tiny cilia in your windpipe and bronchial tubes. These hairs move in unison, about 1,000. They slowly transport mucus, dust, pathogens, and pollutants out of the lungs like a conveyor belt toward the throat, where you unconsciously swallow them or cough them up from time to time. However, this fluttering slows down with age. The hairs become sluggish, and some even die off. And when these tiny workers retire, the mucus builds up. What happens? The body tries to do the job anyway, and sends a cough as a substitute. But coughing is an emergency mechanism, not an everyday tool. So if you cough constantly even though you're not sick, it's often a sign that the cilia are overworked or inactive. But here's the good news. You can stimulate them again, not like a switch, but with movement, breathing and targeted training. Because what hardly anyone knows is that even a walk in the fresh air, during which you breathe consciously and deeply, gently stimulates the cilia system. Even more effective is a technique that almost no one knows anymore, the lip break. How does it work? Breathe in through your nose, calmly and deeply. 2. Then breathe out slowly, through your almost closed mouth, as if you were trying to make a candle flicker, rather than blow it out. 3. The exhaled air creates a slight pressure in the bronchi, which activates the cilia and loosens the mucus, without force. This method originally comes from respiratory therapy for lung patients, but is now increasingly used in seniors to promote the natural self-cleaning mechanism. And the best part? You can do it anywhere. In bed, while walking, while waiting for the bus. Combine this with daily exercise, whether it's light stretching, a few flights of stairs or a lap around the garden, and you'll start to break the cycle. Less mucus, less coughing, more freedom to breathe. Because what is often missing is not medication, but the reawakening of a natural reflex that we have long taken for granted. The forgotten breathing rhythm that once worked quietly in the background can return, if we let it. The first step today, breathe consciously for 5 minutes, with your lips pursed, and be amazed at what happens. Imagine you're sitting at the doctor's office. You describe your chronic cough that keeps you awake at night, starts sticky in the morning, and comes back again and again throughout the day. The doctor nods and checks your prescription. You know, he says, it could also be one of your medications. You frown. Excuse me? And now comes the sentence that many don't want to hear. Your cough may be a side effect. What many people don't know, seniors in particular, are often prescribed medications that can have a mucus-promoting or cough-inducing effect, without this being disclosed. A classic example, AC inhibitors, medications used to treat high blood pressure and heart failure. They save lives, but they have a well-known side effect that many overlook, a dry, irritating cough, which in some cases is mixed with mucus. Approximately 1 in 5 patients who take AC inhibitors develop a chronic cough without ever associating it with the medication. But that's just the beginning. Diuretics can also promote excessive mucus production by drying out the mucous membranes. Sounds contradictory? It is. When the mucous membranes are too dry, they react by producing a protective layer of thick mucus that is difficult to clear. And then there are acid blockers, proton pump inhibitors, which are prescribed for heartburn or stomach ulcers. They too can cause quiet coughing and mucus formation due to changes in the stomach flora and the reflux of stomach acid, especially at night. In short, many seniors do not suffer from an illness, but from a side effect that no one talks about. But here's the solution. It's not about stopping medication, it's about understanding what they do and exploring alternatives. Talk to your doctor, Not just about your cough, but about all the medications you are taking. Ask them to check. Is there an alternative medication without this side effect? Can the dose be reduced slightly? Or can the effect be mitigated by accompanying measures, inhalation, or respiratory therapy? Because many complaints that we accept as part of aging are not. They are preventable with education, awareness, and the courage to ask questions. So if you've been coughing up phlegm for weeks or months without a cold or infection in sight, don't just look to herbal teas and steam baths. Take a look in your medicine cabinet. And maybe the solution isn't another pill, but understanding one you've been taking for a long time. When you think of coughing, you think of your lungs, maybe your throat, but have you ever thought about your gut? For many seniors, this sounds absurd at first. What does my gut have to do with the thick mucus in my chest? The answer, more than you think. Your gut isn't just a digestive organ, it's a secret control center for your immune system. What's more, your gut communicates directly with your lungs. In modern research, this connection is called the gut-lung axis. It's a silent, highly sensitive network in which the microbiome, the trillions of bacteria in your gut, plays a crucial role. When your microbiome is in balance, it regulates inflammation, protects your mucous membranes, including those in your bronchial tubes, and ensures that your body does not overreact. But when this balance is disrupted, something strange happens. Your lungs become more sensitive, your immune system becomes out of sync, your mucous membranes become irritated, and you cough, without a real infection. What disrupts the microbiome in older people? 1. An unbalanced diet. Too little fiber, too much sugar, antibiotics, which are used frequently, but also destroy good gut bacteria. 3. Stress, lack of exercise, and certain medications. The result, the gut forgets how to communicate properly, and the lungs suffer silently. But the good news, you can change that with simple measures. Here are 3 practical steps you can take to strengthen your gut microbiome and relieve mucus coughs. 1. Eat more fermented foods, sauerkraut, yogurt, plain, kefir, kimchi. These are all little microbiome miracles. They bring good bacteria back into your system, without pills. Increase fiber, oatmeal, flaxseed, vegetables. They feed the beneficial bacteria. Flaxseed in particular also helps regulate mucus in the body, inside and out. 3. Avoid sugar and artificial additives. These feed the bad bacteria that promote inflammation and fuel mucus production. Many seniors who made these changes report their cough became quieter, the amount of mucus decreased, and their general well-being improved noticeably. This is because the body heals not only from the outside, but above all from the inside. So if you've been suffering from a mucus cough for weeks, and no tea, spray or inhaler really helps, ask yourself, how are my intestines doing? Because sometimes your lungs don't need new medicine, they need a breakfast with sauerkraut. Imagine you're sitting at the kitchen table in the morning, you're coughing again, a thick mucus that won't budge, your chest feels tight, and every breath is a little too shallow, too heavy. You've tried inhalations, you've drunk tea, maybe you've even taken medication. But what if your body is just trying to tell you, breathe properly? Because what many people forget, especially as they get older, is the power of conscious breathing, not the shallow automatic chest breathing that many seniors do, unconsciously all day long, but the deep, cleansing breathing technique, known in pulmonology as autogenic drainage or active expiration, a method that has been proven to help loosen and remove bronchial mucus, and all without medication, just with your breath. Why does it work? It's simple. Mucus is not only removed by coughing. In fact, it needs gentle pressure from below, from the deeper areas of the lungs, to loosen and move upward. This pressure is created by targeted breathing. Here is a simple 5-minute technique that you can use right away, every morning, preferably while still in bed. 1. Sit upright. Keep your shoulders relaxed, and your hands on your stomach. Close your eyes if you like. 2. Breathe in slowly through your nose, deep into your stomach. Feel your abdominal wall rise. Count to 4 as you do so. 3. Hold your breath for 2 seconds. 4. Now breathe out gently through your lips, as if you were blowing through a straw. Count to 6 or longer if you can. Important, Do not push or force, just exhale slowly and in a controlled manner. This technique creates negative pressure in the bronchial tubes, which gently transports the mucus upward. Repeat this for 5 minutes. Take short breaks if you need to. You will feel your chest becoming clearer, the mucus loose, the cough becomes more productive, but easier. Many seniors report that after just a few days, they begin to cough differently, less spasmodically, but more. Here's an extra tip. Combine this breathing technique with a cup of warm water, with lemon juice or thyme tea beforehand. This warms the mucous membranes and prepares everything optimally. These 5 minutes every morning can make all the difference between a day full of coughing and a day full of air, because sometimes you don't need a new pill, just your own breath, properly controlled. It's nighttime again, you're lying in bed, you should be asleep, but there's that scratchy feeling again, a tickle deep in your throat. Then comes the urge to cough, dry, painful, and sometimes with phlegm that just won't budge. Many seniors experience exactly this. The cough gets worse at night, and while the body longs for rest, a silent battle rages in the chest. Why is this? The answer lies in your body's rhythm, gravity, and mucus production. It sounds simple, but it's crucial. 1. Gravity is working against you. During the day you are mostly standing or sitting. The mucus your body produces can move down into your lungs, or up into your throat, due to movement and gravity, and you cough it up without really noticing. But at night you are lying flat. Your bronchial tubes can no longer transport the mucus as effectively. It accumulates, and that is precisely what irritates your mucous membranes, especially in the second half of the night. 2. Your mucous membranes continue to work, even while you sleep. Many people think that the body produces less mucus at night. Unfortunately, this is not true, especially in older age. The airways tend to produce thick mucus, especially in dry heated air, with acid reflux or unnoticed inflammation. When you lie flat, this mucus does not drain away. It literally sticks to the airways, and your body tries to get rid of it by coughing. 3. What can you do? The good news is that you can counteract this completely naturally. Here are 3 simple strategies that can help. Change your sleeping position. Instead of lying flat, use a wedge pillow or raise your head with 2 extra pillows. Your upper body should be slightly inclined. This allows the mucus to drain better and reduces the urge to cough. 2. Increase humidity. Dry air makes mucus thicker. Hang a damp cloth over the heater or place a small bowl of water with a drop of thyme oil next to your bed. A humidifier is even better, especially in winter. Do not eat immediately before going to bed. A common cause of nighttime coughing is silent reflux, which is stomach acid rising up and irritating the airways. Therefore, do not eat anything for at least 2-3 hours before going to bed, and avoid highly acidic foods in the evening, such as tomatoes, citrus fruits, alcohol, and chocolate. An additional tip, if you feel mucus building up at night, get up briefly, drink a small sip of warm water, take 2-3 gentle breaths as described in Chapter 6, and then lie down again with your upper body elevated. These small changes have worked wonders for many seniors. Their sleep became more restful, the coughing became less stressful, and the next morning, much easier, because good sleep is not only restful, it is the best medicine for chronic mucus. In many German kitchens it still sits somewhere on the back shelf, forgotten, underrated, yet it used to be a household remedy that grandmothers used every day, not just for seasoning but as a natural medicine. Turmeric, a golden powder that can do more than just color your foods. It can thin mucus, calm inflammation, and strengthen your immune system, especially after age 60, when the body's self-healing powers begin to decline. But why turmeric? 1. Turmeric works where mucus forms in your lungs, your bronchial tubes, your throat, where thick mucus sits chronically and is difficult to clear. Turmeric contains a substance called curcumin, a powerful plant-based antioxidant. This substance helps to soothe the mucous membranes, reduce excessive mucus formation, and thin existing mucus so that you can cough it up more easily. Many people report, I took medication for years, but it was only after 2 weeks of drinking turmeric tea that my throat really felt clearer. Inflammation, the silent driver. What many people don't know, Chronic mucus coughing is often caused by undetected inflammation in the bronchi, throat, or even the stomach. Reflux. This inflammation irritates the mucous membranes, and the body produces more mucus as protection. Curcumin is able to inhibit this silent inflammation, without any chemicals. In countries such as India, where turmeric is used daily, chronic respiratory diseases are less common in old age, despite poor air quality. Coincidence? Hardly. How to use turmeric correctly? Just sprinkle the powder on your food. Not quite. Curcumin is poorly soluble in water. It needs a little help to be absorbed by the body. Best combination: ½ teaspoon turmeric, ½ pinch black pepper, 1 teaspoon coconut oil, or olive oil. You can use this mixture in warm oat milk, golden milk, stirred into a salad dressing, mixed into a hot vegetable broth, or simply stirred into yogurt or quark. Taken in the evening, it is particularly effective against nighttime mucus coughs. Caution with medication. If you are taking blood thinners or have liver problems, you should consult your doctor before taking turmeric regularly. In small amounts as a spice, it is harmless, but you should consult your doctor before using it as a targeted treatment. For many seniors, turmeric was a turning point, not because it is a miracle cure, but because it supports the body from within instead of just masking symptoms. Sometimes the solution is not in the pharmacy, but on the spice rack. Quiet, warm, yellow, and more powerful than you think. Sometimes we cough and are sure it's our lungs. After all, the mucus comes from deep down. But what if I told you that not all mucus comes from the lungs? Some of it originates somewhere else entirely, in the stomach, and it travels upward, slowly, unnoticed, night after night, silent, irritating, dangerous. The mystery of many seniors. Many older people report, "I don't have a cold or bronchitis, but I'm constantly coughing up mucus, especially in the morning, or when I lie down." What very few people know. This is often caused by silent reflux, irritation from rising stomach acid, but not the classic heartburn reflux, with a burning sensation in the chest. No. This one is silent, almost invisible. It doesn't burn, it irritates. The stomach acid rises, reaches the larynx, the vocal cords, sometimes even the sinuses. And what does the body do? It produces mucus, for protection, like a shield against the acid. And you think it's your lungs. 5 typical signs of silent reflux. Mucus cough, especially in the morning, or after lying down. 2. Clearing your throat for no apparent reason. 3. Hoarseness, or a husky voice. 4. A lump in your throat. 5. Frequent empty swallowing, or globus sensation. These symptoms are often dismissed as signs of aging, or confused with bronchitis. But if medication for mucus doesn't help, the cause could be deeper. Why does this affect seniors in particular? As we age, our bodies change, inside too. The sphincter muscle at the entrance to the stomach weakens, digestion slows down. Many seniors take medication that interferes with stomach acid production, and we often move less after eating. All of this promotes silent reflux, and with it mucus that seems to come out of nowhere. What can you do? You don't need a radical diet, just a few smart habits. 1. Eat less and earlier in the evening. There should be at least 3 hours between your last meal and bedtime. 2. Elevate your upper body slightly. A wedge pillow can work wonders, or simply place a second pillow under your back. 3. Eat foods that are easy to digest, less fried, fatty, acidic foods, more gently cooked vegetables, oats, fennel, zucchini. 4. Chew more slowly. The better you chew, the less your stomach has to work. 5. Use special herbs, chamomile, licorice, lemon balm, ginger. They calm the stomach, protect the mucous membranes, and relieve irritation. And the most important step, observe your body. When does the mucus appear? What did you eat beforehand? How were you lying? If you recognize a pattern, you can take targeted countermeasures, without medication. The mucus that has been bothering you for weeks, waking you up at night, interfering with your speech. It may not be a lung problem. It could be a silent cry from your gut. And often all it takes is a little attention, a few small changes, and the cough will subside. There are these little, almost forgotten rituals from the past that were once taken for granted. No fuss, no expensive products, just a kettle, a bunch of herbs, and 5 minutes of patience. For many older people, this used to be part of their daily routine. Today, it has almost disappeared. The so-called mucus tea. Lizelot, 82, from Passau, only remembered it when she was leafing through her mother's old recipes. She had been suffering from a persistent cough with phlegm for months, especially in the mornings. The doctors said it was age-related, and nothing to worry about. But Lizelot was exhausted, from the constant coughing, and the feeling of never being able to breathe properly. One day, she found a yellowed piece of paper in an old cookie tin. Written on it in scrawled handwriting, were the words, "Morning tea for the chest, 1 teaspoon Iceland moss, 1 teaspoon ribwort plantain, 1 teaspoon fennel, steep, for 5 minutes. Drink in the morning and evening. Do not sweeten, stay calm." Lizelot smiled. Be calm. As if that were also part of the medicine, she decided to give it a try. The next morning, she boiled some water, poured it over the dried herbs, sat down at the table, and waited quietly. No cell phone, no radio, just the scent of moss, fennel, and memory. After just a few days, she noticed a change. The mucus became thinner, the cough was less harsh, she didn't have to clear her throat as often, and breathing was easier. What is the secret of this tea? Iceland moss, a lichen that was already used as a cough remedy in times of war. It forms a mucilage that covers irritated mucous membranes like a protective film. Ribwort plantain, the underrated medicinal herb on our doorstep. It has a soothing, expectorant, and anti-inflammatory effect. It is a classic in herbal medicine, especially for coughs with phlegm. And fennel, mild, gentle on the stomach, antispasmodic, but also expectorant, thanks to its essential oils. Together, these three act like a trio from nature's pharmacy. Not radical, not aggressive, but deeply effective, if you let them. And that's exactly the point. Many seniors are looking for quick fixes. But some ailments, especially mucus-filled coughs, don't need heavy-duty medicine. They need patience and a return to old ways. Lizelot now drinks the tea twice a day. It has become my quiet time, she says. I cough less. But more importantly, I feel like I'm doing something for myself again. Perhaps that is the greatest treasure of such old recipes. Not just their effect, but the ritual, the moment of mindfulness, the reconnection to what kept us healthy in the past. If you also suffer from mucus coughs, give it a try. You don't need pills or a pharmacy, just a few herbs, some hot water, and the willingness to be still for 5 minutes. Because sometimes the answer to modern problems lies in the quiet habits of our grandmothers. And this tea, it might be just what your body needs right now. Sometimes it's not the lungs that heal, but what lies beneath them.